Welcome back to DONSLIFE, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to continue the video series of what the upgrades on my 2021 GMC Sierra AT4 have cost me from the cheapest to the most expensive, because depending on when you join the channel, you may not be aware of what some of these things cost or what I've even done. So go back and watch the other videos first for context, but today we're going to look at the most expensive mods we have installed on this truck. Let's go. Now, before we look at the first one, keep in mind the costs of these items are going to be shared in US dollars if you were to go out and get them. It's not accounting for if they're on sale currently or if they will go on sale. They're just the prices that I looked up as of today, shooting this video. And of course, some of these items are collaborations or sponsorships with various companies, because you know I do a lot of DIY installs on the channel, and sometimes that means reviewing products, but then showing you how I installed them. Let's start with the Upfitter switches. So right here we have our OEM Upfitter switches. These are an option that you can get right from factory. You usually have to pay more, and usually have to pay to still get them installed. They may not show up to the dealership with this already in place, but we got ours from 404parts.com, and it's added 5 auxiliary switches. Right now I have my interior lights. I put a little sticker on here. So I've got the underglow underneath the dash, underneath the seats. On the second switch, I have my rock lights that are built into these steps, which we'll get to a little later as one of the mods. When you're selecting this product, you have 2 color options to make sure you match your interior. You also have the key control option, whether it be a push start or a keyed ignition. So you can get either or to match the interior properly. Now, to wire up these switches, they're hooked up to a junction box, which is inside here, which is in the interior. So all of your switching happens behind here. So you do have to run some wiring to this area, including a rather large conduit, which I do a DIY install for, which shows it coming in here. Well, you know what? I'll show you under the hood. So the kit will give you this big conduit right here, which goes through the firewall down there. All the instructions are included, as well as you can watch my video. And then it comes into here. Inside the battery area, you will get all of the proper fuses, connectors, everything's included. And it's a heavy duty setup, so we can run big items, big accessories, such as a snowplow. Another great thing about this install is there's no cutting and no programming involved. If you like the OEM look and you only need a handful of switches, this might be a good option for you. This will set you back $515. Everything that we go through today, I will put links in the video description below, and for some of them, I may even have a coupon code. Now, the next one up is our good friends from Boost Auto. Right now we have the M2 powered steps. Let me show you what they do. Let's get out in the sun here. I'll show you from this side. Open the door. Close the door. Nice and sleek. And the best part is these light up, either amber or white, whether it's a rock light, sequential signal. So many different configurations you can add to these, and you don't have to get them in power, and you don't have to get them illuminated. If you want them in a fixed down position, they have the M1 steps, which I actually had on the truck the first go, and I did a couple different demonstrations with those in 2 different color choices. I had the white and I had the amber, and I also had rock lights outfitted on both of them. You can see just how clean the design is. They put a lot of thought into these. They work extremely well. I'm very, very happy with them. One thing I like about this project, whether it's the fixed ones or the powered ones, is all of the wiring, for the most part, is some type of plug and play option. They do have some splicing options, which will save you a little bit of money, but I opted for the plug and play, so the DRLs just work when I plug them into the harnesses, and then I don't have to worry about any splicing or cutting or soldering, which I don't mind doing, but this does make it a little easier. Now, I went with the gray hexagon pattern pads. You can get different colors, you can get different patterns, you can get no pads at all. Due to the multitude of options, these can run you as low as $550 up to $1,500. So next we have our wireless one compressor. Let's air up. Show you where that is. It's down there. So right down here, we have a wireless compressor mounted. I'll have to put some B-roll footage on there because it's kind of blocked with some other stuff right now. But what that allows me to do is air up these bags back here because I sometimes tow heavy and I like the stability that comes with having airbags. I can control it with my upgraded Android screen. I can control it with the included remote, or I can control it with my phone. Let's tear it down. We got a preset here. You probably can't hear that, but it just aired down, showing the current pressure drop. It's a pretty slick setup too, because you do have a tank preset for 100 pounds. So we could air up an auxiliary tank if I had one attached, and we could have extra air whenever we need it, really anywhere. Now, if you want the same setup as me and have the wireless control, as well as the easy mounting system, it'll run you about $675. Okay, next up we have the 42-inch Strands Siberia double row light bar. You can see in the middle we have a DRL section. This can be white or amber. You can turn on both at the same time, won't hurt it, but it's kind of a yellowish color. So I leave it on amber most of the time, which consequently, I got pulled over the other day, which is going to be another video coming up. And when he saw the amber light, he's like, oh, okay. Which tells me if this was illuminated white, he may have took issue with it. Now, if you're not familiar with the Strands brand, they are a European lighting company and they make some incredible things. I stand behind everything they make. Anything I purchased or collaborated with that involves Strands has been top notch. You can see pretty much all my front facing lighting is from Strands. I've got it all wired up to my aux beam panel here. So I got my main light bar there. We got the bumper, we got backup lights, we got tray lights, we have amber or white for the DRLs, and we have our pod lights. So many lighting options. You got lots of mounting options. I'm using the 2 brackets that attach to the back. You can also mount from the side. Wiring, very easy. Now, of course, I do custom things, so the wiring's all hidden in my sport bar, which we'll talk about momentarily. And then it comes out here, and then it goes to all my switching and that type of thing. And like I said, this is European, but it's easily available in Canada and the US. I get mine through BrightSource. I'll leave links in the video description below, but they'll set you up with all the proper switching, relays, and that type of thing. That way you know it's going to work as intended when you get it. Now on the sport bar, it's not quite as high as I would like. It's okay, but I'd like it a little bit higher. That's something I still haven't addressed, but I'm looking at putting some type of spacer in there. Not all light bars are created equal. This is a premium product and it'll set you back about $750. So I couldn't show you that without really showing you this. So this is a sport bar attachment from EGR that attaches specifically to the EGR Rolltrac, which I'm going to cover shortly here. But you can see that these nuts actually fit into these grooves. Slide it in from this end here, and the Rolltrac allows you to put all kinds of accessories onto their Rolltrac system. Now the only thing is, this is very unique. And what I mean by unique is it's a prototype. Right now you cannot buy this on their website. I thought it'd be available by now. It isn't. So I can only estimate at what the costs of one of these would be if you were to eventually get one, if you had the same setup as me. A 1/2 ton with the short box, I'm gonna estimate around $600 to $700. I could be wrong, I have really no idea. I'm just basing it off of the Jeep Gladiator, which uses one that's very similar. But not all is lost. If you do like this tubular sport bar setup, you can still get them without the EGR Rolltrac. They'll mount in a more traditional clamping type system to your existing bed rails, and then you can have the same setup pretty much exactly like I have. You just wouldn't have the Rolltrac as the base for it. Look at that beautiful gloss khaki green truck back there. That is a wrap if you didn't know. So this material would run you about $1,000 if you were just to buy the roll. Now I did this wrap myself, so all the labor was free. The cost to get a shop or a professional to wrap this would range widely because it depends on how detailed and how far you want them to go. I went down like all the way under the rockers. There's body plugs behind that step. So I took those out and I went all the way because I didn't want any lifting really anywhere. And you can see that the results are pretty darn good. So this is just an estimate in US dollars, but I think a good quality wrap on a truck of this side would run you at least $5,000. Maybe you know somebody, maybe you can help, maybe you can get a deal and get it cheaper. But I've seen wraps cost all the way up to $10,000, really depending on what you want to do. But the real bonus here is underneath that green wrap is mint original white paint. So I think one of the most common upgrades is always wheels. So these here are the 20-inch Brink Wheels Insurgent pattern. These ones are piano black. I've had a couple sets of Brink wheels now. I had some bronze ones, and now we have the piano black. I've just always liked this pattern. The only problem with this pattern is it's a little harder to keep clean just because of the extra detail, but it really isn't that bad if you're used to cleaning your vehicle all the time. They have lots of different options, lots of different offsets. This wheel specifically in a 20-inch is about $295. But there is a DONSLIFE coupon code, so you can save yourself some money if you were to buy a set. We're getting near the end here. One of my neighbor's favorites is my Borla S-type exhaust. I've got the quad black tips. It's a catback design. I have a full install video on this, as do I with everything that I've shown you so far. One of the many things I like about this setup, and especially from Borla, is there is absolutely no drone. Now again, I have the S-type, there's touring, S-type slots in the middle when it comes to aggressiveness and loudness, and then there's the attack. Attack is the loudest, where everyone in this area would ask for me to move. It's a nice warm day. Let's give it a nice cold warm start. This setup here, installed myself, was about $1,800. I had to move locations here because the sun just keeps making the camera overheat. But last but certainly not least, we have our EGR Rolltrac, which we talked about a little bit in this video. I absolutely love this thing. This is the best tonneau cover, box cover that I've ever had. It's set up, plug and play, to talk to the truck, program to work with your fob. Close it the same way. It locks with the truck. Notice it's not working. We have controls on both sides. If I unlock the truck, I can use these controls, stop it anywhere. It also has safety built in. So it'll back off and not pinch anything that you might have in here. I've left in this position a few times so I can haul things that are longer than the box and just have them peek out of the top there. It's designed to be heavy duty. Here I am sitting on it. Has built-in drains. I just washed my bed. It's very heavy duty. The canister is tiny for this type of cover, and you can see it hangs very high, so I still have all this headroom. And speaking of headroom, the rails sit on top of the box, so I actually have more space when I put items in here compared to the flip cover that I used to have, which ended up sitting lower in the bed. So I actually gained some vertical space with this upgrade. And because of this design where we can add all of these accessories, if I get tired of the Sport Bar, I can look at doing maybe a full overlander build, have maybe a rooftop tent, have a whole bunch of extra survival gear and outdoor gear in the box of the truck, still have the Rolltrac in place. Maybe we take it that direction. So many options. So the EGR Rolltrac comes in two flavors. You can get the non-electric for $21.84, or you can get the electric version, which I demonstrated here, for $28.49. Well, that concludes my list of the most expensive add-ons or mods that I put on my GMC Sierra AT4. I know there's way more expensive things we could look at doing. I've barely touched the suspension other than some shock upgrades. So really, sky's the limit. It just depends on where you want to spend your money. For me, I like to make my cars and trucks unique. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know everything we do here is unique. We have the C8, we have the Escalade, have the Cameo. I do have some plans for that. Just look at this wrap. It's crazy. Sometimes it's pink, now it's gray. And then sometimes it's pink again, then it's gray. I could do this all day, but I'll spare you the agony. If you like today's video, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing. We'll talk to you next time.